J.J. Joe drops in. He wrote a piece that's on 365 or Sic'Em365.com in the premium section. And, J.J., it's game week. What is the first week like, no matter if you're someone who has not had many starts at quarterback or someone who's a seasoned veteran?
It's like getting ready for the race when you're in your neighborhood and you guys always would line up and see who's the fastest. It's that first game, a lot of anxiety, a lot of anxiousness, and a lot of anticipation because you've been hitting each other and, just going against your teammates for the last month. And it's just great to, get prepared for another season. You got fans in the stands. So it's a lot of anxiousness. And it's interesting because this year we have a lot of new faces and sometimes you just don't know how they're going to perform until those lights come on and they try to simulate it with scrimmages and all that, but nothing like Saturday afternoon, hopefully a Saturday evening most of the time during September out there on the gridiron.
How will you know that Blake Shapen has taken a step forward after game one?
I don't. It just really depends on how this game goes. GJ is in his first year out there at Texas State. And, they'll be amped up, but you figure they'll have a little bit of a transition period, just getting used to him. So you hope that helps, Baylor and works in our favor. But for Blake, really, it's the first game, I think, is really just him getting his feet back under him and doing the small things, right? Just leading the team, taking what's there, making sure that, his team, which should be superior, should be now, doesn't mean you win, to Texas State, that you go out and get the W and you play a clean game. So I don't think this game, outside of, just hopefully keeping him healthy and having him maybe get a little connection with those receivers, would be good to see that. But as I mentioned last week, the beginning of the story with Blake will really start the following week.
JJ, I'm not sure how much football you got to watch over the weekend, but for what you did you have any thoughts coming out of it on the clock changes, or are you going to be like I think a couple of us said, and we need to see a bit more this weekend with a full array of games?
Yeah, I got to see more now. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see any ball this weekend. Okay. Man, that's bad to say for a color guy, but I had a good friend. His mom passed away, man, and it was East Texas, so I had to make the jaunt out that way Saturday. But I think those clock changes, it's really going to change in the halves. I know it's still pretty much the same as stop when I think it goes out of bounds at the end of halves in the game. But it's going to shorten the game a little bit, make it a little tighter, and coaches have to coach differently. I'm really interested to see how coaches adjust.
Yeah, and I reeled off the number of plays that of 4 or 5 games, and they were mainly from 58 plays to around 75. There was one team that had 83 plays. I don't even know what the average is. I know that some have wanted to get to 90 or 100 because of the style of play. Is there a chance if Baylor gets their wide zone running like it did 2 years ago, it could milk away about an entire quarter the way that things are set up?
No, yeah, I think for a team like that Coach Aranda has and the scheme with Grimes and those guys, I think it helps. I mean, if you can kind of get your game going, they want to run the ball. They want to really, really stress your defense and then take some opportunities in the passing game. So, yes, if you get in a game against a strong running team, oh, man, you start getting anxious. And you can tell what will happen is defensively, I think you'll see defensive coordinators maybe start taking a few more chances earlier because they know, that clock just isn't stopping. I get first down. It's still rolling. So it'll make a difference. It'll be interesting to see over the course of the season kind of how things hash out.
JJ, how many times do you think in your career did you run 75 or more plays in a game?
Oh, man, maybe twice a year, maybe once or twice a year. And those were typically going to be in blowouts where we really were killing the team and we were just running on them. I know SMU we actually ran the ball 90 times one time. We didn't throw a pass. So it probably was a total. It was less than 10, easy. Our whole deal was to control the clock. We felt like if you got to 24 with our style of offense, you should win a really high percentage of your game. So this new advent of offense, man, it's like basketball on turf.
What was the offseason change, whether it be personnel, roster flipping over as it does even more so than ever these days, a coaching change? Just what was the biggest change that Dave Aranda had this offseason that excites you the most heading into this season?
I'm always interested to see, you had a team that went to two, I talked about this last week, 2 championship games in the span of 3 years. And for the most part, I know he made some changes in his coaching staff, had a few holdovers. So I'm interested to see the new faces because as I wrote today, sometimes when you have a little success, I know we had some tough years in there, some of the older guys can get a little bit, it's a little entitlement that can creep into your program, which every coach hates. And I think with Coach Aranda, I think it'll be good. He has a new DC, a guy that he's familiar with, so he really feels good about that. New voice for the players. And then I think you have a lot of new players that they see Baylor as a very successful program. You don't go to a Sugar Bowl and win a Big 12 championship and go to another in 19 and teams not see you as really encroaching and trying to push up to that upper echelon. So I think a lot of those guys want that, and it'll be interesting to see this new energy, that new juice from the new guys who, hey, man, I want some of what some of you guys have already experienced. So I'm interested to see how those new guys meld with guys like Matt Jones, Blake Shapen, Garner Aranda, all those guys, how they all meld together.
Yeah, because last year they kind of teased everybody. Wins at Lubbock against Tech, and then the one in Norman. But and Dave Aranda mentioned this throughout the year. JJ, when Grant Taff and Baylor were recruiting you, what was the message? Was that where you wanted to go? Is that where eventually they got you to go? And what was that like in your relationship with Coach Taff?
It was great. Coach Taff was a fantastic recruiter. He didn't have back then as much to recruit to. You had the Southwest Conference, which was, a stable conference for a while until Arkansas made the jump to the SEC. But Baylor didn't have those facilities like they have now. I mean, Coach Taff, I don't know how he got people to Waco, but he was really good at selling vision. He was really good at showing that he could develop guys and put them in the NFL. He was really good at letting you know that you do. I mean, the person over player deal, that's not new. It's just the tagline is new, but Coach Taff really cared about his players as young men. And that he used to preach that to us all the time. So I think Coach Taff's sincerity to the parents and to the players eventually won out. In addition, he did find a way to win some big games. Didn't probably win as much as he wanted to, but based on the resources he had a really, really successful run.
JJ, thank you. Look forward to it. We'll have evidence Saturday evening, Texas State, Baylor. Ought to be interesting with what G.J. Kinney runs on offense and what Baylor's trying to do to bounce back. We appreciate your time. Can't wait to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, J.J. Joe, former Baylor quarterback and also the color analyst on Baylor Radio. Ricky